We are talking about a time when, in fact, an applied artificial research center has been opened in Hyderabad, and this has the partnership of tech giant Intel along with the Triple IT in Hyderabad. That's the Indian Institute of Information Technology, and you also have the Public Health Foundation and the Telangana government coming together. And what they're going to do is really democratize the application of artificial intelligence through open data sets, and that will make it possible for researchers, entrepreneurs, as well as social scientists, we are told, to solve problems at population scale. I'm joined by Nivriti Rai, who is the country head for Intel Corporation, and she also happens to be the vice president for the Data Platforms Group. Thank you so much, Ms. Roy, for joining us. We are in the middle of a pandemic, and this is a pandemic where we're talking about numbers, contact tracing, all that actually went out of the window because we are talking about such huge numbers and it was no longer possible. I know your research center is going to be looking at larger issues of health and social sector challenges, but in the context of something like a COVID pandemic, how does artificial intelligence really come in?
See, artificial intelligence, just to describe what it really means, is basically leveraging a lot of information that you have and creating sort of an expert system that can answer accurately at a large scale in the way that creates value for people. So what artificial intelligence will be able to do, for example, in this case of pandemic, understand the genomic sequencing of, let's say, ethnic people like India, and see if COVID-19 virus acts on our genome sequence a little bit different than what it is acting on people from Italy or people from United States. Had it not been for technology, the amount of compute that is required to do the genome sequencing would not be possible. And just to tell you a little example of how compute has changed and why compute can drive all this genome sequencing is because, you know, if you look at year 2000, to do 1 teraflop of compute, which means 1 trillion floating point operations, you would need to spend $50 million. And now I can spend $600 and create 8 teraflops, so 8 trillion floating point operations. And for doing genomic sequences, you need much less than that. So what we can do is, because of the ability to compute and understand the different makeup of different human being, how this virus is going to impact a person versus the other. You know, why this virus is, you know, more severe on somebody and very mild on somebody else. It could be various things. It could be genomic sequence. It could be your health. It could be, you know, various things people have talked about, temperature, blood group, whatnot. So compute is basically enabling, you know, all of this analysis. Also, compute is enabling how different people should be treated and also come up with ways where diagnostics is made easier. We don't have to wait. You know, you heard of CRISPR-Cas9 and Faluda's solutions that CSIR and Tata built. That will be able to do much faster, much cheaper. And then, you know, a lot of data can be analyzed based on the compute availability.
So very interesting that actually the academia in that sense is coming together with a corporate like yours and the government and also the Public Health Foundation. In this particular center, are you immediately putting for yourself some particular agendas in terms of, like, for instance, the pandemic itself?
So let me start with the explanation. Why did all of us have to come together? You know, to do any kind of problem solving, whether it is AI or even, you know, simple statistical analysis, what do you need? You need people who have the talent, who have the capability. Second thing is, you need the technology and IP. Technology meaning the amount of compute you need, the amount of memory you need, storage, connectivity, AI accelerators, that, as well as, you know, IP. IP meaning, can I look at a breast cancer scan? Do I have an algorithm that detects that this is a breast cancer? So that is called an IP, and that is generated through an AI algorithm. So you need talent, which is people, you need technology and IP, you need policy. A lot of these technologies are new. So you have to worry about safety, security, anonymity, privacy, a lot of these things. So policy, meaning the government role, plays a huge important role. Lastly, data. So Uma, Everybody has talked about data, that India is a very rich data country. The world will generate 175 zettabytes. Zetta is 21 zeros. Zettabytes of data by 2025. So data is going to be huge. India is generating, we are all a data factory. Each one of us is generating a whole lot of data. You know, in the next 5-7 years, we believe 125 billion devices will be connected. So in India, we are generating a large amount of data. Now, all of this put together can create solutions for large scale problems that we have. If I look at India, and in the presence of this pandemic, telehealth is a big opportunity for us to drive. Then education is a big opportunity for us to drive. 17 deaths happen in an hour on the road. Road accident prevention is something that technology can drive. So what our center will do is holding hands with academia, government, industry body like ours, Intel, which has all kind of compute that I talked about, whether it is, you know, accelerators for AI, whether it is CPU, GPU, connectivity, we have it all. And we will work together to bring a solution that can solve problem for masses. That's why we call it population scale. We want to democratize it such that, you know, the 600,000 doctors that we have in India, it's very few for the 1.3 billion people. But if I can consolidate the intellect of these 600,000 doctors and make this telehealth available for the 1.3 billion people, that is what our intention is. And there are few, like you asked, what is your agenda? Currently, my agenda is to, and it's a very big dream. I like to dream big and then work towards it. So my dream number one is how can I avoid those 17 deaths an hour that are happening on the Indian roads? And to tell you, it's very sad, but most of them are young people. So I'm trying to come up with algorithms in partnership with Telangana, in fact, even Karnataka, and come up with solutions or algorithms or IP that I can then implement in vehicles. Second agenda is how can I make diagnostics easy such that I don't make false positives or false negatives, meaning, you know, tell somebody you don't have breast cancer when they do. Tell somebody that, you know, you don't have bone degeneration when you do, and vice versa. So we are working on diagnostics at present, but we have leveraged the capability. We have been working on this for the last 2 years, this partnership that you talked about, PHFI, IIIT Hyderabad, and Intel. So we worked on this traffic accidents. My dream is accident-free or death-free, you know, situation for Indian roads, 0 deaths, and then health accessible to everybody. My dream will be disease-free India. It's a very lofty dream, but we'll work towards it. So my first step was diagnostics, but what we were able to do, because we've been working over the last 2 years, we quickly partnered with CSIR to come up with a risk stratification of patients of COVID. You know, what kind of risk based on a lot of data, you know, based on their blood group, based on a blood, reports, pathology reports, based on their comorbidities, based on their RT-PCRs, all of that information we've leveraged and come up with something called risk stratification and personalization. So we can treat each person based on what that person needs, not give a flat generic, you know, amoxicillin kind of antibiotic, which works for like 25 different diseases. So personalized kind of care based on risk is what we were quickly able to do with CSIR and IGIB.
Okay, very, very fascinating possibilities that you spoke about. But this conversation, of course, could go on at length because there's so much that you could share with us that tells us about the possibilities, whether it's smart mobility or health challenges or even the education sector. Thank you so much, Nivruti Rai, for joining us on NDTV. Back to you, Gargi, now.
Thank you. Stay safe. Bye.